Hello, colorists! This week I am once again partnering with Coloring Book Cafe. Now, last week I made an error for when their membership registration was opening. It's actually this week. So right now, along with their membership registration, they've also opened access to a 3-part adult coloring workshop series that I actually helped them create. It's called Reducing Stress and Discovering Your Creativity. Register today for this inspiring workshop to learn how to bring more balance, focus, and relaxation into your life through coloring. You'll also learn my top 7 benefits of adult coloring, some great fundamental tips and techniques for beginners all the way to advanced colorists. And you'll also learn all of the services and benefits that you will get with a Coloring Book Cafe membership. Now, just for registering, you're also going to receive a free PDF coloring book called Favorite Pages. And now this workshop is only available for a limited time, so click the link in the description box below to access it directly. Now their membership window is open now as well, but again, only for a limited time. So head over and see all that Coloring Book Cafe has to offer. Now Coloring Book Cafe has a specialty coloring book that they feature every month, and this month's is called Spring Gardening. Now in Chicago, it's still a little not so nice out. We're starting to see little glimpses of spring. So this book is a beautiful reminder of the warm weather to come. So today we're going to be doing a page from this book. Now, something about these welly boots, these Wellington boots, just really spoke to me, and I wanted to see if I could challenge myself and try to give them the look and feel of real rubber boots. So I focused my efforts right off the bat with leaving some white space down the center of each boot where I thought that light would be hitting. And I'm going to try to leave that area completely white. I'm not going to go, light yellow. I'm going to go completely white to see if I can capture kind of that highlight that rubber boots have, that texture. And the rest will get a nice wash of a few different yellows and some nice light browns to give the illusion that these boots live in a 3-dimensional space and are affected by the light around them. I'm also sticking to my faber-castells this week as I'm really enjoying using these. I don't know why I put it off for so long. Plus their candy-coated color palette I think is just perfect for a bright and colorful spring page. Something else I've been sticking to lately is just blending with a dry cotton swab. Now this has been working really well for me lately. I used to use a Prismacolor colorless blender all the time, and it was very labor intensive, very hard on my hands. I would go through them like crazy, where the cotton swab is super easy to use. It has a nice light touch, and it does the job really well. Now for the tulips, I just have to go pink. You can't have a bright spring scene without pink tulips, but I do want them to be interesting, so I'm going to be using a few different pinks. Plus, I'm going to leave some areas on their petals white, like I did with the boots, just to give them kind of the look of those like multi-tonal tulips that are so pretty. Now, plus, tulip petals are usually very, very delicate, so they have a bit of that kind of translucent quality to them anyway. And once you hit these tulips with a few swishes of the dry cotton swab, all these lovely pinks will soften. Now, if you don't want to drag any of your darker shades into the areas that you left light or white, you can actually start your cotton swab in the white area and work outwards towards the darker colors, and don't backtrack into your lighter colors again. And the cotton swab will pick up quite a lot of color itself, so I always have a big dish of them on my desk to change them out frequently. And always change them out between colors. When you're switching from yellow to pink, don't use the same cotton swab. You can use the other end, or just pick a new one just so you're not cross-contaminating. And here we go into the greens. Now, given the nature of this page having tulip leaves and grass and clover and all sorts of greenery to color, I wanted to use a few different greens just so that it didn't get all kind of washed into one another. And my habit is always to start with my lightest green, and I like to layer. So I started with a foundational layer of this super light green, and then I added onto it with other greens as I wanted to add some color variation, some shading, etc. And I tried to keep the greens that I chose kind of bright and spring-like, but not too cartoony, if that makes any sense. So I avoided like the moss greens and the real earthy greens, and I went for more of kind of a bouncy, cheerful green. And boy, did these green layers take a long time. Now, the majority of my time on this page was actually spent on these greens, but it really did bring a lot of diversity to them. And my favorite aspect here was definitely adding that grass blade texture at the end. And it was really easy to add, just kind of a flick of the wrist in different directions, starting at the bottom and flicking upward. And it really brings a lot of texture to this flat surface. And one of my favorite things to do is to actually add those grass blades kind of over other objects on the page so that it really makes those objects, blend into the landscape much more realistically. And I am not going to take my cotton swab to this last step just because I do not want to blend out those grass blades. Man, that is a mouthful. Grass blades. I really want to keep them nice and crisp and sharp. So I blended out the layers underneath, but not on top of kind of those individual blades that I added. And we'll add just a really simple kind of blue sky here. In hindsight, I kind of wish that I had added clouds. I don't know why I didn't, but, hindsight is 2020. But, just a nice layer here of like a really, really kind of periwinkle blue. And then I took cobalt green, which is actually blue. And I just kind of went over just certain areas, where there were kind of some white spaces just to add a little bit of, texture and dimension here. And then I blended it all out with my cotton swab, and it just gave me just a nice clear blue sky. Now, I'm not going to lie, I sat staring at the page like this for a good 10 minutes before I decided what color to color this garden hose. Now, to me, I don't know why, a garden hose is hunter green. Like, that's not even the color of my hose. My hose outside is gray. So I don't know why I was so drawn to a hunter green, but I didn't want it to blend into the grass. I couldn't bring myself to put one more green onto this page. So I was just sort of trying to think, like, what color should it be? And I ultimately decided on kind of like a pinky kind of, definitely going to add in some of that red violet, color that I love, just because I thought that those kind of pinky tones would balance out the tulips. The tulips are, very heavy pink kind of up at the top of the page. And I thought that it would balance out nicely at the bottom of the page, just kind of do them in a very similar tone as well. But again, I didn't want it to be too matchy-matchy. I didn't want to use exactly the same colors. Plus, a lot of this hose is actually kind of hidden in the grass. So I wanted to add a darker color, which is going to be that red violet, just to, again, give it the illusion that it is sinking into the grass and that there would be a lot of shading there. And then at the end, I just kind of brought out my my white Uniball gel pen. I just kind of added, a couple little highlights just to kind of pump up that white space a little bit on the tulips, give a little bit of a like soft, bright highlight here on some of the areas of the hose where the sunlight would be hitting. And then I thought it would be fun to kind of add some white, what's that stuff that's like on clover? It's just kind of, like little baby's breath, kind of the illusion of that in the grass. Not only just to give it a little bit of interest, but also just to break up all of that greenery again. I just thought it'd be nice to kind of add some visual interest there in the grass. And it's really subtle, but you know me, I can't resist putting little white dots all over everything. And that is it. This is our page. I think it came out really, really cute. It's super fun, super springtime. It just desperately makes me want to go outside and tend to my garden, which right now looks like it's still January, but one day here pretty soon, it'll be spring. That is it for me today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to check out my back catalog of videos if you want even more coloring tutorials. Thanks again to Coloring Book Cafe for partnering with me on these videos. Remember, there will be a link in the description to a free 3-part video series created by me, and just for registering, you'll receive that free coloring book, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Their membership is also open now for a limited time, so don't wait, don't hesitate, rush over there right now to check them out. You'll be glad you did, and visiting them helps support the PencilStash channel. So long for now, everyone, and I'll see you all again in the next video. Thanks!